2.
Animated. Did you see that, Nolen? Fancy. Somebody beat mixing in there?
I don't know what you're talking about. I'll just throw in a new drum line over your track. Is that a problem?
Yeah, no problem at all. No problem. Hey, I just got the notification. We're going live now.
That's good to know.
Yeah. Hey, cool.
Is that what we're here for?
That is what we are here for. Hey, everybody. You have tuned in to This Pink Cloud, Season 2, Episode 13.
Yes.
Which I just said I have triskaidekaphobia, which is the fear of number 13.
Which is actually something he just made up just now.
That's true. Hey, I am
keen on his
DJ.
phobias.
I am DJ Kelly Reverb. That is the Professor Nolen, and then we have our special guest over here, Ashton, which we will get to later.
What's up, Ashton?
So, what's going on with you, dude? What's going on in the world of Nolen?
Nothing eventful, I guess.
Are you kind of showing up on time now?
Yeah, kind of. I'm giving it the old college try.
Right.
No, I mean not really too much. Just been hanging out, trying to work, trying to make some money. I did get to have many conversations with my daughter about the hair color she's going for. Those are always interesting.
Nice.
Yeah, she's big into like anime and,
right.
and that whole scene. So she's going for the crazy hair color.
Well, we'll have to see the after for sure.
Yeah, I think we're going purple. That's
right.
where we're at right now. Is purple, but it
well,
changes.
In case you people don't know, this show is designed to help people obtain and maintain sobriety.
In spite of the
and
hair
recovery and other, I was kind of hoping for something maybe recovery based.
Recovery based, yeah. Well, I could go there. We could go there.
Okay, well, yeah. I'll start with me, and then you can follow my lead. I actually went to a campfire meeting last night.
Oh, okay.
It was cool.
Yeah, I bet
it was off the map, dude. So anything underground and renegade, I'm all about.
You're all about that.
About
that thug life.
And then. The reason why I am not wearing flip-flops today is I actually go in for an interview at Homeward Bound after this for the RSPS position, which is the Recovery Peer Support Peer Specialist Support. Yeah.
We're going to make sure we get that right.
It's RSPS, yeah. But that's it.
No, that's very cool.
So how about you? Outdo me, man. Well,
I don't know if I can outdo you. No, I don't know if I can outdo you. You know, at my home group, we are starting to try and get back to pre-COVID
settings.
Yeah, so we got some more chairs in there, a little less social distancing. Still got to wear the masks in the meeting, but we got full chairs. And
now, have you been vaccinated? Because that's another thing that I've done this week.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I'm thriving, Nolen.
You are. I have not been vaccinated. I'm not against it. I'm not holding out for some weird conspiracy reason. No, I just haven't done it. I need to get online and sign up. I've actually taken people to get vaccinated.
Nice.
But I haven't done it myself.
Do you actually? Okay, because at Fair Park, it's a drive-through.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, Nolen is an Uber driver.
Yes.
So.
That's my calling in life.
That's right. Of course, dude. You're a natural. I would love to have the professor taking me around.
I've had a few fun rides, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I have taken people to at Trinity Park in Fort Worth.
Now, but you actually are supposed to stay in your car while you do that. So do you sit in line with them while they're getting vaccinated?
It's a negotiation process is what it is. So as an Uber driver, my time is valuable.
Sure.
You have to pay for my time. Gigolos and Uber drivers, we have that in common.
Right.
But no, basically since it is a drive-through, some people don't have cars.
Sure.
And they have to get vaccinated still. So they call on me and basically just say, how much do I need to pay you to take me through this line?
Well, now I don't want to jeopardize your employment, but I mean, is it a unspoken.
Yeah, that is under the table.
I gotcha.
Uber is not
because
privy to
that would be
funds.
You could just sign up and just go and just show up with one of your fares and just. Oh yeah, hey, here's my barcode.
No, yeah, I need to sign up. I need to get vaccinated for sure.
Right.
My parents are vaccinated finally, both shots. That I feel so much better now that they're both vaccinated.
That's great.
They were always the ones we were, watching out
Well,
for.
yeah,
so.
of course.
Yeah.
But I'm just doing this for humankind, Nolen. I am
you gotta do your
part of the herd.
You got to do your part.
I'm part of the herd now.
One among many.
Yeah. So anyway, I am excited to have our guest here, Ashton.
Oh, there's another person here. Look at that.
Yes. Now, Ashton and I, we go way back.
In the Wayback Machine.
Yeah. I have known Ashton. I actually know Ashton from Skate Straight, which is a smart recovery meeting I go to, which I love, and I'm sure Ashton loves as well. Right?
Yeah. Let the people know when a Skate Straight meet.
They meet actually on Saturdays.
Okay.
And Tuesdays. So Saturdays you can look it up. They do yoga, and then Tuesdays is just a meeting. And everybody stay away because it's mine and Ashton's meeting.
He lies. I've been to it too.
Yeah.
I went and did the yoga. Yoga was fun.
Yeah, so it's cool vibe, and an alternate to the 12.
Yep.
But 12-step programs, but
very similar. Very similar. I mean,
but there's crosstalk, so that's what I'm all about.
Kelly's all about the crosstalk.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, I don't want to wait till after the meeting to let you know how important my thoughts about you are, right? I mean, so okay, so Ashton, we will get to you now. You are a member of the LGBTQ. I had to write that down. LGBTQ community, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, and if you just talking to the mic, you might have to kind of swallow it.
Yeah, you might want to bring it a little closer to you.
Yeah. So, okay, and I met Ashton at Skate Straight, and I find any way someone can find help is a good thing.
Yeah.
And since he is in a specialized group of society, is that politically correct enough?
I don't know.
Yeah, right.
I don't want to get any hate mail or anything. I can just see.
Are you not the arbiter of political correctness?
Yeah, right. So, but you are a trans man, correct?
Yes.
One thing I do love now, because sometimes people obviously change their name when they change their identity. I know that Ashton and as well as Kelly is a nice gender neutral name.
Yeah, very androgynous.
So have you always been Ashton or?
No, I changed my name.
Okay. Do you want to? What was the past name? Or?
Oh, I don't feel comfortable sharing.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
That's the past name, man.
See, I already messed up.
That's back in the past.
That is the past. Okay, so Ashton, obviously, you are in recovery for a reason. So, how old of a person are you?
I'm 20 years old.
20 years old.
Getting sober young.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it took us a long time to figure that out.
Yeah. Whoops.
So, so Ashton, go ahead and just start us off with where your road to addiction started, and incorporate, your life changes and all that stuff. So. And
give us the
and
story.
I won't let you lose your train of thought. I'll keep you focused.
Okay.
All right.
So my addiction I started using when I was 14. I mainly started with weed and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Sure.
And as I got older, like when I was around 15, I started doing like acid and stuff, and
oh, that's always fun.
Yeah,
it's a good way to kill a day.
Yeah,
and then and then I started doing like coke, and then like when I was 16, I really started doing coke like a lot.
Yeah,
and by the time I was 17, I was addicted to coke, like without a doubt, like and I started smoking crack. And
at 17?
Yeah, at 17.
Okay.
But I quit that pretty quickly, actually, because I was kind of like, I lost all my connections.
Now, when you say connections, you're talking about people you're buying the drugs from.
Yeah, and I stopped talking to the friend that I normally did it with because he stole money from me. Yeah.
People smoking crack steal?
Yeah, right?
Can you write that down in your notepad? I want to make sure I remember
Let me write that down later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so after that, I was just smoking weed sometimes, and then I actually, when I was 17, I converted to Islam.
Okay.
And that was the first time I got sober.
Okay.
Now, what brought that on?
So I just started reading the Quran because I was just curious about different religions, because I just had this moment, because I was an atheist, like, I didn't believe in God or the afterlife or anything like that. And so after I had this this moment where I was like, I just got freaked out about death. I was just like, oh my God, what happens after I die? Like there can't be just nothing. And I was just freaking out, kind of like.
Right. Which most of us probably have that freak out at some point.
Was it like a near-death experience, or was it just an all of a sudden this feeling came over you? Or?
Yeah, it was like this feeling came over me. Like
Yeah.
I was just driving home from work one day, and then like it was like night, and then I'm just like got this sense of doom about death.
Right.
And then after that, I'm like, I need to start learning about different religions. And like, so I already knew I didn't like Christianity. I had been raised Christian. I knew a lot about Christianity and everything like that, so I wasn't really drawn to that. And I had done research on like Buddhism before, but like I wasn't really drawn to that either. So I was like, I'm gonna start reading the Quran, because I haven't really done a lot of research on Islam. So I started reading the Quran, and like it really spoke to me. Like I was like, wow, like I don't know, like it just, something about it just drew me to it. And I started doing more research about Islam, and I really like I just felt this I just felt really drawn to it.
Sure.
And
which you should.
Yeah,
in your religion of choice.
There is I don't want to go too into the weeds, especially because this is Ashton's time right here. But there is a psychologist, Carl Jung, who used to he did a lot of work with early recovery, 12-step stuff. Kind of very integral person for the history of recovery from alcoholism and addiction. But he theorized that this addiction, this thing that the addict feels, is essentially just a yearning for closeness to God.
Right.
Now, he didn't talk about it much because he was a psychologist, and it was kind of taboo for him to talk about spiritual stuff, but he openly talked about it with people in recovery. And it's just funny that you mentioned that. In a lot of alcoholics and drug addicts I know, get this like overwhelming, like there's got to be something out there, I've got to find it kind of feeling. So anyways, it's always interesting to hear those kind of stories from people.
Yeah. And so like after I did more research about Islam and learning about it, like I wanted to become Muslim, but at that time, like, so like I knew I was trans from a young age, like around the time, like after I went through puberty, and I like around like 10 or 11, like I started, like when I was 10, I remember I used to dress up as a boy, and I just thought it was fun. I didn't really think anything of it. I was just liked being perceived as a boy. Like I dressed up like a boy, and I'd ask people, do I look like a boy? Do I look like a boy? And they'd be like, yes, and then I'd be all happy about it.
Right.
But when I was in middle school, that's when I learned like being trans was a thing. And like when I was 12, I kind of realized that I was trans, and I told my mom, and she was like, no, you're not. No, and then like I was like, I knew I'm bi, and I knew I liked guys and girls then, but like I told my mom, I'm like, Mom, I'm a gay guy, and she's like, no, you're not a gay guy. And I'm like, and then that really upset me, like that she didn't believe me. But I just kind of kept that to myself until like I was 16 again, because when I was 16, I went through this like bad breakup, and and I was like, I'm bipolar, and I wasn't diagnosed at the time. They thought I just had depression, but I wasn't on medication at the time either for depression. And I was really suicidal. I've struggled with suicidal ideation, like a good portion of my life, like after after puberty. That's when like the depression and everything started. And so I was gonna kill myself, and so my mom took me to a mental hospital, and so I went there, and then I did like a partial hospitalization program after I did inpatient, and while I was there, I kind of came to terms with me being trans. Again, like I was like, I made this decision, I was gonna come out, and I told everybody in my group, and they were all really supportive, and I think like I took all my friends being supportive and everything like that. Like, I don't know, like I thought my family, like I knew they would react bad, but I didn't like think about like I didn't realize how bad it would be. Like I told my mom, and I was kind of hopeful that she would let me start testosterone, and that didn't. I kept pushing my mom to make me to let me start taking testosterone since I was 16. I needed her permission, and she was not gonna let me do that. And I guess since I kept bugging her, she made me come out to my dad, and my dad's like very conservative, you know, like typical like Texan Republican, you know, and so that didn't go very well, and so that was just really traumatic for me to like go through that, and but at that point I came out to all my friends. Like all my friends knew I was trans and everything, but like the only people in my family who knew was my mom, dad, and my sister, but they weren't accepting it. They just like ignored it after that. And
now would you say that I mean, were you actively addicted at that time, and you're trying to figure all this out in your head simultaneously? So this is all going on.
I think like when I was in like the PHP program, like I wasn't
PHP. Oh, hold on, I gotta hear it. What
partial hospitalization program.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Whenever
I always got to spell out the acronym.
Yeah, there's plenty of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, whenever I was in that program, I wasn't, like, I don't know if I was necessarily an addict then yet. Like, I was definitely using, like, I didn't have a specific drug of choice at that time.
Right.
Like, I would just use drugs, like, or any mind-altering substance that I could get a hold of whenever I could. But I was, like, 16, I didn't have a job. I couldn't buy stuff. Sometimes I would smoke weed, but I wasn't really, I don't think necessarily I was like a full-blown addict.
Sure. Right. It wasn't a necessity. It wasn't I have to have this no matter what at that point.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, so you've got this deal where you're out to your friends and you're sort of out to your family, but they're very much in denial. So are you doing this sort of like double life thing where at home you're one person, and then when you leave home you become a totally, yeah, that becomes tricky.
Yeah, and when I converted to Islam, I was hesitant at first because I know that in Islam, like, you're not really supposed to transition. Like, that's kind of frowned upon. So, like, I was like, oh, I can't be Muslim because I'm trans, and then that means I can't transition if I convert to Islam because I wanted to do it. Like, I wanted to go by the rules, like, you know.
Sure.
And so that was my thoughts at first about Islam. But then as I started learning more about Islam, I got more and more drawn to it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to stop transitioning so I can live as a Muslim woman. And so that's what I did. I converted to Islam. I stopped transitioning. Like, I was just socially transitioned, like, just out to my friends and, you know, but I stopped that. Like, I started living as a girl again. I started wearing a hijab, and my family didn't like that either. You know,
which one were they more upset about?
I don't know.
It's a tough call.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I think honestly, I feel like I don't know. I can't tell.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hold on, let's get your parents on the phone. Hang on.
Yeah, so then I started living as a Muslim woman. And so at the time, so my wife is trans as well. She's a trans woman. And at the time...
Okay, so wait, you're married now?
Yeah, I'm married now. But at the time, we were dating. And she wasn't out to me as trans. She was just living as a guy. Okay. So we were dating at that point. But in Islam, like, men and women aren't supposed to be together, like, alone together, unless, like, they're married or they're like related.
Okay.
And so I convinced her to convert to Islam as well. Like I really did. Like she believed in it. I think she still kind of does. She's not like religious anymore, but she still believes in it. She's just not practicing.
Sure.
But then I convinced her to convert to Islam as well. And so after that, we got married on my 18th birthday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which I guess is state of Texas. Can you get married younger than that?
You can with parents' permission.
Oh, parents' permission.
Yeah.
There's the caveat.
Yeah, and so I got married at a mosque. Only like my mom was there and like a few friends.
Your mother went?
My sister. Yeah, my mom went.
Okay, well, good.
Yeah, but my dad didn't go. He was very mad about it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
And after that, like so I wasn't doing drugs that whole time, and I got pregnant after that a few months later.
Okay.
And so I had my son, and I was like, I wore the hijab throughout all of that. You know, went to the mosque, went to like groups for like Muslims and things like that.
And you're about 18, almost 19 at this point?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And by the time I gave birth, I was 19.
Okay.
And I stopped wearing the hijab a little bit before I gave birth because it was the middle of summer. It was like really hot.
I can imagine.
So,
Sure.
And then my faith was kind of going down. I was getting less and less religious.
Right.
And so after I stopped wearing the hijab and I gave birth, after I had my son, I started drinking. I was like, I'm like, it wouldn't be that bad to just like drink every now and then. I never really drank.
Socially drinking.
Yeah,
Yes,
I was like, I want to try.
It's a great idea.
It's good in theory.
Yeah.
I want to try hard seltzer. I've heard about that. I want to try it.
Yeah, I'm actually a little upset about that too.
Yeah, hard seltzer wasn't around.
Man.
Well, I mean, we had like Mike's Hard Lemon.
I mean, it was around, but you know, I never.
They're always going to invent something that's already been done.
Well, if I have a relapse, I'm just White Claws
and rename it
and do it that way.
So I started drinking after that, and like at first it was just like one hard seltzer a day or something like that, and then it slowly became like more like 2 or 3 hard seltzers a day, and then I tried wine. And wine was like a game changer for me. I'd never really had wine before that I liked. I tried red wine. I had white wine before. I never really liked white wine, but I tried the red wine, and oh my god, like I just fell in love with it. I'm just like, this tastes amazing.
Doesn't it make you feel fancy?
Yeah.
let's all be honest.
Did you have the?
Let's all be honest.
Did you have the glassware, the stemless?
I had all that.
I'm sure you did. And you had like the full douchebag.
Oh, you know
for
what?
Wine. Sorry for those that drink wine out there, but there is some douchey products.
Oh, don't you worry about that. Yeah, I had an aerator.
The aerator,
and
yes.
If you had caught me at the right time, especially with a couple of drinks in me, I would have gone amateur sommelier on you and been like, bullshit.
And here's my box of Franz.
Yeah. But let's all be honest. Part of the red wine appeal is it makes you feel fancy.
Right.
You feel cool.
I gotcha.
Yeah, so I started drinking red wine, and then I started drinking a lot, like
you end
more
up with
and more.
purple teeth, purple lips.
There you go. I need some baking soda, some hydrogen peroxide.
And I had pretty bad postpartum depression at that time, and I think that's what I was using to like cope with it. And that didn't help because alcohol is a depressant, so it just made me more depressed.
Whoops.
Like at first I was having fun, but then it just got to the point where I was just getting drunk every night and sobbing.
Right. And then did you start using as well again, like the other substances that you were using? No,
it was just alcohol after that. And so it was just like got to the point where I was getting drunk every single day, and then I was drinking tequila in the morning and taking shots if I didn't have my wine.
Oh yeah. Well, you know.
Whatever alcohol was in the house if I ran out of wine. Like I drink wine if we had it, and if we didn't, I drink whatever I could find.
Sure.
And then it got to the point where like one day I took my son to a pediatrician appointment. I wasn't drunk at the appointment or anything, but I was just extremely sleep deprived. I hadn't slept like since the day before. Like, I had gone over 24 hours without sleep.
Right.
And so, like, I just had a mental breakdown at this appointment. And I just, like, cried, and I was just, and I couldn't stop crying. It was just, like, uncontrollable sobbing. And, like, so my son's pediatrician told me to go to, like, a regular doctor. Because they couldn't help me because they're a pediatrician.
For sure.
So I went to a regular doctor, and they didn't know what to do either because they're not mental health people. So, like, they were just like, oh, my God, we don't know what to do.
So, like, something's wrong.
Yeah, they're like, you have postpartum depression. That's what they told me. And I'm like, and so then they wanted to send me to a hospital. And and because they're like, you can't drive with your son and all this stuff. And then I had my mom pick me up and everything. And then I went to a mental hospital to do an intake. And, like, I went there, and I was and they just told me I had to do a partial hospitalization program because I was like, I'm not having, like, thoughts of hurting myself or hurting other people or whatever. And I kind of lied about how much I drank. I'm like, I have, like, 3 glasses of wine on the weekend.
Sure.
You know, like, and in my mind, that's what I drank. That's what I drank.
Yeah, you believe it a little bit.
But so, the start of the tequila Kickstarter is always a sign.
No, those don't count. Those don't count. So you've said partial. Tell me what a PHP is. I mean, I know it stands for Partial Hospitalization Program, but what exactly is that?
It's kind of like maybe like a month-long program or 2 months. It depends on where you go. Where you go, it's kind of like group therapy, basically. Okay. And you go there for like maybe like 5 hours a day, or 5 days a week, or something like that.
So it's like an outpatient kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you get to go home at the end of the night.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't get to stay in those fancy beds. I'm sure they're quality.
Nothing wrong with a plastic bed.
I'm sure it's 4-star.
Plastic beds. I've had many a spiritual experience in a plastic bed. That's real right there.
And so I went there, and then, like, on my first day, they put me in the regular mental health group, like, because they have different groups for different needs, and I was in the mental health group. And I went there, and, like, at the end of the day, they had a nurse ask me again about, like, my history with, like, drugs and alcohol. And then I was actually honest that time, and they were like, yeah, we think you need to be in the rehab group. And they moved me to that group. And at that point, I didn't really realize I was an alcoholic yet. Like, I knew I needed to cut back on my drinking, but I didn't think I was an alcoholic. Like, I'm not an alcoholic. I just need to cut back. And then they moved me to the rehab group, and then I was just, that's when I think I started to kind of realize that I was, like, an alcoholic. And then, like, I had my wife throw away all my wine. I had, like, a box of wine, and she threw that away and everything. And so I started that, and that was, like, when I started, like, I guess that's another time I started recovery, because without knowing it, before I had been in recovery when I was Muslim, but I didn't think about it that way.
Right.
I was.
I gotcha. Well, man, there's a lot there.
Yeah, a whole lot of searching for answers, really.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
I get that. I get that.
I can definitely get, where that would cause you searching for answers, like where we've all searched for answers through mind-altering substances. And
so I was going to ask, what do you think made you be honest with that nurse that day?
I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, I think I stopped and I thought about it more. Yeah. Like, I thought about it more than I was. And then I was like,
you're like, I'm here. I might as well.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean,
she's a nurse. She knows what I'm talking about.
I like the answer. I don't know. I mean, I think when I look back at my own story, at those moments, especially early on, where there was still some denial about what I was and what I was doing. Those moments where all of a sudden you're honest, like, I don't know why I was. Because, you spend so much time, like, or at least I spent so much time building this delusion in my head of what was going on, and I had control, and blah, blah, blah.
Well, yeah, it is alcohol is a lovely dance. And then, it's just like none of us, started off to be alcoholics.
Sure.
But... it's like you always say, it's the ultimate slow play. Yeah. And in some cases, it might be a quick slow play. Yeah. But, none of us, intend to get there, but somehow we do.
Now, did you ever try cutting back or stopping on your own or any of that stuff especially during that time frame with the wine and the tequila? And what is it with boxes of wine?
It's easy.
I know.
User
well,
friendly.
It's cheap.
It's cheap.
Yeah. Price point and user.
Franzia.
No, I would
Black
buy
box.
Black box.
Black box.
Or,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Black box is a little better.
Or
Yeah.
a
Good
Boda
call.
box.
Oh, I haven't had that one.
That's it actually. Yeah, Boda box.
But yeah, I don't know. That's the alcoholic wino's like calling card right there.
Yeah,
the
right.
Boxo wine.
If you're getting your wine in a box, there might be an issue.
Yeah, I think that's one of the steps. It's like step 0.5.
Step 0.5.
Have you been drinking boxed wine? Okay,
Yeah.
over here.
All right.
Over here. Let's talk. No, but yeah, did you ever try cutting back or stopping or any of that stuff on your own? And what was the outcome there if you did?
Not after I started drinking.
Yeah.
Like when I started drinking, I didn't realize I was an alcoholic until I went into treatment. I never tried to stop until I went into treatment. And then when I went into treatment, that's when I tried to stop. And then after that, like that was in 2019.
Yeah.
And I maybe I had like 2 or 3 months of recovery, like after starting treatment of sobriety, I mean. And so after that, like after I got out of the treatment, like I went to like 1 AA meeting or 2 AA meetings.
Right. I was going to ask you that. And how did that not your bag?
Yeah. Well, I went and I just didn't go back because I was lazy. I had a newborn. I'm like, I don't have time for this.
Sure.
Like,
right.
I'll just do it on my own. But that didn't work very well. Like that didn't end very well. So I ended up like relapsing, drinking again. I'm like, this time I'm going to control my drinking. That's what I told myself.
Of course, yeah.
Like, yeah, that's when I tried to moderate my drinking after
this
that.
This is what I was getting to.
Yeah.
This is what I want to hear about.
Yeah, so after that, I'm like, I'm just going to, like, cut back on my drinking. But still, like, after I started drinking again, like, the first time I drank again, like, I got so drunk, like, drunker than I had, like, ever been before. Like,
Drunker than you wanted to be.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I started binge drinking and then not drinking for a while and then binge drinking. It was like a cycle. Like I was still trying to quit, but I wasn't really trying to quit. Like
Right.
it was like I was trying to moderate, but it didn't work. I would just binge drink so much until I was like throwing up and I couldn't stand or walk, and then like I had a horrible hangover and couldn't do anything the next day, and then I'd be like, okay, I'm not gonna drink for like a week or two or a couple weeks, and I had this period for a long time where I would do that, and then I'd not drink for a couple weeks or a week or so, and then it was like that was my, like I was trying to recover without doing anything else.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
And I would just relapse and try to stop and relapse, and that went on for a while until November of last year in 2020.
Right.
And so I got diagnosed with bipolar depression last year, and so at that time I had started taking medication like maybe 2 weeks, or I was on medication for like maybe 2 weeks until like I had a really bad episode or period of depression. And I was like really suicidal and depressed and everything like that. And I ended up going into inpatient at a mental facility, and I did that there in
14 days or what?
12 days.
12 days.
Yeah. So I did that, and then afterwards I was like, I don't feel ready to go back out. Like I feel like even though I hadn't been like drinking every day like I had at the beginning of me being an alcoholic, I was scared that because I was so like depressed and I was still like not, I was just scared about what I would do to myself if I got really drunk one day. Like I was like, what if I get really drunk when I leave here and I kill myself or something? Because I don't want to actively kill myself now after doing this.
Right.
But what if I get drunk after this? Because I still didn't really want to stop drinking. Like I was like, okay, I still want to keep drinking.
Yeah.
Like I need to get help for this. So I went to I did another program after that. I went to Greenhouse Outpatient.
Okay.
I didn't do the residential program because my insurance doesn't cover it.
Sure.
But they have like a sober living there that's basically kind of makes it residential because you couldn't leave.
Right.
And
Okay.
so I lived at Resolutions, and I went to a Greenhouse Outpatients program for recovery, and I did that, and that was like really helpful.
Did you find this just like online? I mean, or were you searching, or did you go to a specific website, or?
Somebody at the mental hospital I was at was going to go to the residential program there, and they were talking about it a lot.
Okay, so you just heard it word of mouth?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if there is anybody out there that you would vouch for this place.
Yes.
Okay.
At least the outpatient program. I didn't go to the residential
and give it to them again just in case they didn't get it the first time.
Greenhouse outpatient.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where you said resolutions, is that?
Resolutions is kind of, it's like sober living.
Okay.
You can live there while you go to their outpatient program, or you can just live there afterwards. But because of COVID right now, they're only letting people leave if they for work or something like that. Not like, so it's a pretty strict sober living.
Sure. I gotcha. Okay.
And so after I got out of that, well, while I was in there, actually, like part of the reason I was so depressed is I wanted to get a divorce or a separation from my wife.
Okay.
And I had been thinking about it for months, but I was just scared of like what would happen if I did that. I was just terrified of actually telling her this. But while I was in there, like I made a plan. I'm like, this is what I'm gonna do and everything like that. Like I'm gonna actually talk about this when I get out. And so whenever I got out of there, I talked to her about it, and we separated, and I went to go live with my parents again. And actually, I was really scared about that because my parents are not accepting of the fact that I'm trans. They pretend that it's not happening.
Right.
Like, they still call me by the name that I was...
right. The name which we do not
that's
speak.
rough. That's rough.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, that's
and they know how you feel about it?
Yeah, they know how I feel, and they still call me a girl, and that's really upsetting, and I don't know. I couldn't... And then my dad's an alcoholic as well.
Sure.
It runs in the family.
Yeah.
It often does.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Not always, but often.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, so I only lived with my parents maybe like a month, a little bit over a month, and because I couldn't deal with living in an environment where there was somebody always drinking alcohol around me. You know, that's difficult.
Yeah. They say if you hang out at the barber shop enough,
you're
gonna get a haircut.
Yeah. So well, at least he's an alcoholic. I'll tell you what, though, it's easier hanging around an alcoholic drinking alcoholically than it is hanging around normies drinking.
Yeah,
they make it look good.
But
they make it look good. But alcoholics at least make it, it's like,
yeah, that's why I don't do that. Yeah. Dad ran into the footstool again.
Dad passed out in the chair at 8:30 p.m. on Tuesday.
Yeah, right. Well, but I mean, that's got to just be a rough environment to be in, where they're not accepting of your gender identity, and then plus throw in alcohol on top of it.
Yeah.
I can't say that I would want to be there either. So
to kind of jump into that, so after you have your son, so when did you start? When did you make the decision that this is who I am? This is what I'm going to be. Was it shortly after you had your son, or?
It was maybe a couple months after I had my son.
Okay.
Yeah. Probably around like January of 2020 is when I started to come to terms with it again, because I had like convinced myself that like I was not trans anymore. Like I had repressed it. Like I'm like, I am not trans anymore. I am cured.
Sure.
Like those gay people who go to conversion therapy. Yeah. Like I thought Islam cured me.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. And like
maybe it was just the heavy dress that cured you.
No, I mean it's tough. It's that's all that stuff's tough to wrestle with and figure out where it all goes. So I get that. Yeah. Almost like hoping you don't have to deal with it.
Yeah. Because I didn't want to be trans. Like, like I wanted to live as a girl and be happy. But like the whole time I was living as a girl, like I never felt happy. I felt like a fraud. I felt fake. Like when I'd go to like events like the mosque and I was surrounded by a bunch of women, I felt fake because I didn't realize it, but it's because I didn't feel like a woman. So I felt uncomfortable because like I'm with all these women, because like everything's like women are supposed to hang out with women. So I was always with a bunch of women, and I felt weird because I always felt like I was hiding something because I kind of was. Like I didn't, I am not a woman. I don't feel like a woman, and I'm like pretending to be a woman, and it felt weird, and I felt off the whole time. And I didn't really think about it because I was trying to suppress it, but then like I kind of realized like I'm not gonna be happy living as a woman. Like I never will. I'll just be uncomfortable my entire life and not be happy and like not okay with myself. So after I started to realize that, like, yes, I am actually trans. Like, I did not cure myself from being trans.
Right.
That's when I was like, okay, yeah, I want to start to transition again. Because, like, my wife also, like, I kind of knew she was trans. Like, she had told me before, but she said she didn't want to transition or anything. But then she was like, oh, I'm going to transition. That's what kind of made me reevaluate, like, how I really feel about my gender identity. Because before then, I was just not thinking about it. Like, I was just keeping it out of my mind, trying not to think about it. And then after that, I'm like, well, I'm going to have to deal with, like, how everyone in our family reacts to my wife transitioning. And I kind of just thought about that. Like, it kind of triggered that reaction of me actually really thinking about how I feel and everything like that. And, like, it's like, well, a big reason why I didn't want to transition is because of my family's reaction.
Sure.
And I'm like, well, I'm going to have to deal with a reaction anyways. Like,
might as well piggyback on it and do it all at once.
Might as well go for it.
Yeah, it makes sense. Logically, it makes sense.
Yeah. Well, so let's go back and kind of recap, like where you. Okay, so you found help through what was the acronym again?
Greenhouse. Oh, PHP.
PHP.
Yeah.
And they're gender friendly or LGBTQ friendly at this facility?
So I went to Carrollton Springs for my inpatient.
That was the mental health facility?
Yeah.
Okay.
I went there for PHP that first time whenever I was, like, at my beginning stages being alcoholic and realizing that I was an alcoholic. That's where I went for PHP the first time. And then last year when I went inpatient, I went there for inpatient that time. And while I was there, like, the majority of it, they were pretty supportive and everything like that. Like, they were accepting. But I did have an instance with one nurse practitioner one weekend while I was there where all she wanted to talk about was, like, okay, so while I was there, I didn't feel like explaining to everybody that my wife was trans, so I just referred to her as my husband and just said I was married and I had a husband. And so that's what I put on all my forms and everything like that. So, like, all the doctors knew that I had a spouse. And so she just wanted to talk about how I was married and now I had a husband and he's okay. Is he okay with you, like, transitioning and all this stuff? And it was a nurse practitioner who is a psychiatrist, like a psychiatric nurse practitioner. So we were just supposed to be talking about my medication.
Right.
And it's supposed to, like, that's all we were supposed to be talking about.
She wanted to get into therapy.
Not even therapy.
It was just curious.
She was just curious.
Yeah, she just wanted to know all this stuff. And then, like, I said I was having thoughts of self-harm. And she's like, do you want to hurt yourself because you're a girl? And I was just like, I didn't know what to say. I was just like, yeah, because I didn't know what to say. Like, I was just like, that was just like so, I was so blown back by that. Like, I couldn't believe that she told me that. And then afterwards, like, I started thinking about it more and I told people, and then they were just like, that's really messed up. And, like, and I was just like, that it was just really offensive because, like, first of all, she was saying that I was a girl. Like, she was invalidating my identity. And all she wanted, she was just like, just wanted to know all about how, like, I'm married to a man or something. And, like, and we weren't even talking about medication.
It sounds like she was trying to get you to see it her way,
or
your
something.
way.
Yeah. Just curious or something. You know, I know it's difficult for, you know, everybody. Not everybody approaches this whole thing with, like, good faith, right? There's some people that just have a prejudice,
a stigma,
a line, you know, maybe similar to your father or whatever. That this is just, you know, this is how I feel about it. But a lot of people approach it with good faith. They're just confused, and are, you know, have questions and things like that. She might have been one of those where she was just trying to find some answers, and
but that wasn't
decided
really
you were the person who needed to. Yeah, it's like, I'm actually a mental patient in this facility right now. Maybe another time, huh?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, and after that, like, whenever you leave the facility, they have you fill out, like, a survey, and I wrote about that in the survey, and they called me back, like, one of the people who, like, reads the surveys or something like that there.
Oh yeah, they call those the survey readers.
Yeah.
That's their official title.
They called me back to see, like, who it was. I said I didn't know her name, but I knew, like, what day she was working and everything like that. And so they said they were able to figure out who it was, but they said that she denied the whole thing ever happened, that she didn't do any of that.
Right.
And so, but they said that they did training.
Maybe she didn't realize maybe she was in denial, you know, that she didn't realize that she was coming across like that.
Yeah, but they said they did a training with the whole facility about like transgender people and everything, and so that they would like to avoid any situations like that happening again.
Right.
So that's really good. Yeah.
It's an odd transition, but since we're talking about facilities that help people like us.
Yeah, let's get to our sponsor.
Let's talk about our sponsor first.
We haven't even jumped in and gotta love.
It just occurred to me too. So.
Yeah, right. Thank you for reminding me. I was so in the moment. But yeah, Summer Sky. They'll throw it up here. There we go.
Bring that up onto the
beautiful. Yeah, that is our sponsor, and love it because we actually have shirts coming up from them. The rehab shirt that I was telling you about with the chair.
Yeah,
and then. We are not going to have the rainbow shirt, which I'll have them pull up in a second, but we're going to have this pink cloud with the summer sky on the back. So we will have like when guests come on the show, we can actually give them a shirt.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I'm more than happy to be associated with Summer Sky in whatever way. Good place.
Yes.
Good place. Happened to save my butt more than once, really.
Yeah. How many times was it at Summer Sky?
I've been to Summer Sky 4 times.
Really?
4 times, yep.
All right.
Twice when I was very young.
And they keep
when
taking
I was
you back.
Ashton's age.
Yeah.
And then twice in these last couple of years. Yeah, they keep taking me back.
Wow.
I don't know. They're not very bright.
Well, hopefully. Well, you know what we need to do is actually what Scott Kelly. He's the president or.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Chief Executive Officer.
Let's go with that too.
Yeah,
probably
whatever.
all those.
But we need to go out there and give back. We haven't done a road trip to Stephenville in a while.
Yeah, it's been a couple months now, right?
Yeah.
So no.
Well,
totally
I am now coming up. I've already surpassed 8 months, and coming up on 9 months in just days.
Yeah, you are. What, 2 days? 3 days?
I don't know. I'd have to do the math. The 12th.
Oh, you know what is it?
That is, don't make me, so 3 days. 3 days I'll be at 9 months, thanks to Summer Sky.
Yeah, that big part in it. But yeah, it's an inpatient treatment center in Stephenville, Texas. That's our sponsor. And good people. If you need some help, you need to go get locked up like we did for a little bit.
For sure.
It's a good place to do it. And reach out to them, www.summersky.us. Give them a call. Patsy or Haikisha in admissions can hook you up.
There we go. And now that's out of the way. Indeed. Hey, speaking of websites, I know we have another one, and you were talking about how, because I always, in the pre-interview that I do so thorough here, I go, things you want to plug or push.
Yeah.
So, and Ashton came up with the Trevor Project.
Oh, yeah.
If you can
good
pull
stuff.
that
I'm familiar with the Trevor Project.
It's already right there. So why don't you tell us about, how you came about it and actually what the Trevor Project does.
So I heard about it online like a couple years ago or something, and so it's a crisis and suicide hotline for LGBTQ plus people under the age of 25.
Okay.
And I think like I've called it before. One time I was having a panic attack when I was like 16 or something, and I called it, and they were really helpful.
Yeah.
And like the person I spoke to was like really nice and calmed me down a lot. So I think that's good. Like I've called like the suicide hotline number before. They put me on hold for 20 minutes, and I just hung up.
Oh yeah, dude, that's
wow.
Yeah, that's.
But
nice.
when I called the Trevor Project, that didn't happen. And
cool.
So they have a website and they have like online support on there. You can like text, I believe, and you can call as well. And so that's something I just wanted to promote for anybody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is all good information that I want to get out there because there might be somebody watching this out there that doesn't know that those resources are available.
Yeah.
And that's basically, as a part of my RSPS training, I am a resource broker.
Are you gonna do the interview in that voice?
Yes.
You might should.
That is my
It's a sexy voice.
I got a homeward bound. Yes, hi. Yes, I've done a 46-hour class, and I am now an RSPS.
No,
and,
but you bring up a good point just in general when it comes to stuff like that. I think that it's probably part of just the human condition, but definitely alcoholism and drug addiction. It's a lonely business, and there's this idea that nobody cares, nobody knows how I feel, nobody knows what I'm going through, blah, blah, blah. That is your brain telling you stuff that's not true. There's all kinds of resources out there, people that do care, people that do want to help. Heck, we're some of them.
Yeah.
But the Trevor Project, Summer Sky, the list is endless.
Yeah.
No matter what you're going through, there's somebody out there going through something very similar that maybe has some answers for you.
Yeah, true. Yeah. True that. So, I felt like we cut your story off, but did we? Or did you?
No, we can jump right back into it.
We can jump back into it. So we've got about another 10 minutes. Yeah.
So Skate Straight. How'd you come in? Well,
what brought you to Skate Straight? Tell us about.
So I found Skate Straight because I was like I didn't really like AA meetings or NA meetings. I don't know. I just felt like whenever I go to
Skate Straight is a smart recovery meeting. Just so anybody that doesn't know, and you're welcome to go.
Well, you talk about this a lot, both of you guys, since you're both, participating in Skate Straight and Smart Recovery. Explain what that even means. What is Smart Recovery?
Well, I mean, to me, it's kind of a group therapy, and we go around, and like I said, my favorite part of it is crosstalk, because my opinion is very important to me.
My opinion is very important to me.
No, but I love to, if there's somebody out there, they did. It's like sometimes it's just like you don't see the obvious, and I'm like, well. And I have all this anxiety, and I've been, worrying about this with my ex-wife. And have you talked to them yet?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, no.
So it utilizes the whole group setting, similar to the way 12-step meetings do.
And it's not like we're passing judgment on anybody, but it's
or Celebrate Recovery is another one that's it's a faith-based but group setting thing, and from what I know about Smart Recovery, and correct me if I'm wrong, so it's almost like there's different it's almost like there's different levels to how much the idea of finding God is part of your recovery. There's like Celebrate Recovery, where it's very, very faith-based.
Well, it's just a higher power,
12-step.
And it is what is
higher
God
power
to you, and then there also is the whole AA, which is
that's true. I guess people get hung up on the word God. I should say higher power.
No.
But it's
okay.
the same thing.
I mean, it's God of your understanding. Now here it is. Let me get PC on you. The God of your understanding.
I don't know if that's PC, but I got you.
The God of your understanding.
So there'll be like Celebrate Recovery, where it's very faith-based, and then maybe 12 steps, like a step below that or something, and then Smart Recovery maybe right below, where the idea of a higher power is not necessarily the focus. It's maybe more about the group setting than it is about the other. But that's just, haven't participated much in Smart Recovery. That's an outsider looking in, so that's why I like you guys to talk about it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Ashton, how did you find Skate Straight?
I found it because after I was kind of done with AA meetings.
Sure.
And so I wanted to start going to Smart Recovery meetings. So I looked it up on their website, like locations, and I saw there was one at a skate park. And I like to skate. I haven't skated much in a while. Like I've started skating again. I'm not very good at it, but I saw it was at a skate park, and that drew my attention. And then
and you like punk rock?
Yeah.
Those go hand in hand. Yeah.
Right.
So then I started going to the meetings, and I really liked it, and so that's how I found it.
And you met cool people like me, and have you on shows, and whatever. But no, I really appreciate you, sharing your story with us, because there's a lot of people out there that don't understand, and then there's a whole other part of society that's out there that's like, oh, I need help. So I think hopefully we shone a light on all of that today.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to, I don't want to step over any whatever PC lines, but I know that it's just a fact in the LGBTQ community. A lot of times, especially at the youth level or at younger level, drugs and alcohol abuse is huge.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's hard enough being a teenager, going through puberty, going through that whole thing. Middle school and high school sucks for everybody.
Oh yeah.
And then you throw all of those weird self-doubt and self-questioning and maybe the stuff from like your family going in, and drugs and alcohol seem like a solution. Right. And I know a lot of folks, like especially from when I was living down in Austin, but even here in Dallas, Fort Worth, in like the homeless community, there's a ton of younger trans kids, gay kids that are really struggling with drugs and alcohol,
right?
And trying to figure out not only who they are, but how do they tackle this problem too. So yeah, I like you plug in the Trevor Project and stuff like that.
And so if you could advise anyone out there that's listening that wants help, what would you say to somebody that's looking for help or that needs help?
I think like if you're like a trans person and you need like help with certain things, like honestly, this is what I do. I just Google trans resources in like whatever city I'm living in, and I found a lot of help just by doing that. Yeah. Like when I lived in San Antonio, I did that, and that way I found like LGBT-friendly counselors and like psychiatrists and everything that were really helpful, and I was able to get like I didn't have a job, I don't think, at the time, or if I did, I wasn't making much money, so I was able to get like counseling and seeing a psychiatrist for like free or almost free. And so that's something I really recommend, is to like just look up resources for your area, because there are resources, you just have to look for them. You might have to like search a while on Google, but you'll find them, and there may not be as much as there should be, but there's something, and or hopefully there is. If there's something, you'll find it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. So anybody you want to give a shout out to? Kurt at Skate Straight.
Oh, yeah.
All of my Skate Straight people.
Oh, another thing I wanted to talk about is there's actually this nonprofit, and it's called Transformation Free.
Okay.
And so you can Google that. And they provide free chest binders to trans people who are unable to get them.
Oh, that's cool.
And you can sign up on their waiting list online. Just Google Transformation Free, and you'll be able to find the website.
Okay.
Very cool.
Good to know. Good to know. Nolen, any questions for you, bud?
No, not really. Well, so are you currently like in any counseling aside from just the Skate Straight stuff, or is it like yeah, I mean, you mentioned bipolar, so are you seeing any therapist or anything right now, or what's going on there?
So I have medication for it. I was seeing a psychiatrist, but I have enough medication for a while, but...
So I don't need to see a psychiatrist.
Aren't you supposed to do both?
Right. I don't know. I missed my last counseling appointment, and they wanted me to pay a fee to, like, reschedule it, so I don't know. I need to do that, yeah. But I need to get that together, but I was.
I got enough.
So
I got enough. I got enough meds to make it through.
That's why it was on my heart to ask that. Okay, motivate you to get back into it.
Funny. Hey, well, real quick. Also, we have these lovely shirts. If you have a second to pull that up, por favor. These are now available on my DJ website, djkellyreverb.com, and it is. Let's see what shirt they pull up.
A little background music.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, right. But there is no magic pill for sobriety. If there was, we would all take too many. Obviously, we do this show out of the kindness of our heart.
Yeah.
So, but if you want to go on and buy a really expensive T-shirt.
$97 T-shirt.
Yes, exactly. But it'll have that on the back.
Free shipping, though.
And I'm excited about getting the actual, tangible shirts where I can just hand them out,
Yeah, for sure.
So, and, but other than that, I think I want to thank you again for coming in, sharing your story. Professor, you got any words of wisdom?
No, not really. I mean, I know it's always kind of nerve-wracking to do something like this, right? Come on and start. But hopefully it wasn't too bad for you. But no words of wisdom. I don't got no wisdom. I'm just a junkie trying to friggin', get his life together. But No, I just appreciate. I love hearing everybody's story. There's something about that is powerful to me. I get a lot out of it, so I guarantee that today is going to be a little bit easier to stay sober now that we've done our little show.
I have learned good knowledge today.
Yes.
And hopefully everybody, I have imparted that knowledge to those listening.
But no words of wisdom. Just everybody have a good weekend, good safe weekend.
And well, obviously be sure and like us on YouTube.
Yes.
I will post this episode up there later. And like us on all social platforms and all that good stuff, and help us spread the word,
Yeah.
and spread the message of hope.
The word being that there are answers to the problem of drug and alcoholism.
If you have an addiction problem, there's help out there if you want it.
Yep.
But you got to ask.
Yep.
So anyway, and then the closeout line. Remember, there is no magic pill for sobriety, because if there was, we would all take too many. Thanks, guys.